Did you know the most audacious bank heist in British history was exposed by a random radio hobbyist? On a quiet September weekend in 1971, central London was nearly empty, but 40 feet beneath Baker Street, something extraordinary was happening. A gang had spent months tunneling underground using stolen excavation equipment. They knew London's sewers and underground layout like experts, avoiding every utility line. Then an amateur radio operator picked up strange walkie-talkie chatter. "Can you hear anything?" came through his speakers. For an entire weekend, he listened to criminals methodically breaking into Lloyd's Bank vault. When they finally smashed through the reinforced floor, they found more than money. Safety deposit boxes contained compromising photographs of high-ranking government officials. But here's where it gets strange. The evidence mysteriously vanished, and the government issued a media blackout order. Despite clear proof of a larger conspiracy, only 4 men were ever convicted. The rest of the gang disappeared into history.
Did you know 13 priceless masterpieces vanished from a Boston museum in just 81 minutes? On March 18, 1990, at exactly 1:24 in the morning, 2 men in police uniforms approached the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. They told the night guards they were responding to a disturbance call. Once inside, they handcuffed the guards and began the most audacious art heist in history. For over an hour, they cut paintings directly from their frames, including Vermeer's priceless Concert. But here's what makes this terrifying. They knew exactly what to take and where to find it. This wasn't random. Someone had fed them inside information. FBI investigators believe this was orchestrated by an international crime network spanning multiple countries. The stolen art was worth $500 million and has never been recovered. 34 years later, empty frames still hang on the museum walls as haunting reminders. The FBI investigation continues today, chasing ghosts across continents, the perfect crime that's never been solved.
Did you know the world's most sophisticated vault was cracked by a man with a can of hairspray? In 2001, Leonardo Notarbartolo walked into Antwerp's Diamond Center posing as a legitimate gem merchant. For 2 years, he studied every inch of the underground vault while planning the perfect heist. The target was protected by 10 layers of security, including infrared sensors, magnetic fields, and seismic detectors that could feel footsteps. On Valentine's Day weekend 2003, his team struck. They sprayed hairspray to blind the sensors and used aluminum-coated panels to fool heat detectors. One by one, every high-tech barrier fell to simple tricks and patient planning. By Monday morning, they had vanished with over $100 million in diamonds. The crime seemed flawless until investigators found something unexpected. A half-eaten sandwich left behind contained Notarbartolo's DNA. That single bite unraveled the entire operation and led to his arrest. The twist? Despite solving the case, police never recovered 90% of the stolen gems. They remain missing to this day.
Did you know one man with a janitor's uniform once held the world's most famous painting hostage for over 2 years? On August 22, 1911, visitors at the Louvre stared in shock at empty wall hooks where the Mona Lisa should have hung. But here's the crazy part. Nobody even realized it was stolen for 28 hours. Officials assumed it was being photographed somewhere in the building. When the truth hit, panic erupted across Paris. An international manhunt began immediately. They even arrested Pablo Picasso as a suspect. Meanwhile, Vincenzo Peruggia, a former Louvre employee, was calmly living in his tiny Paris apartment, with Leonardo da Vinci's masterpiece hidden under his bed. For 28 months, the most sought-after painting in history lay beneath a carpenter's mattress. Then Peruggia made his move. He traveled to Florence, convinced he was heroically returning Italy's stolen treasure. He contacted an art dealer who immediately called the police. One man's inside access had made Da Vinci a global household name and pulled off history's most audacious art theft. Did you know the second largest cash heist in U.S. history was pulled off by a bored, armored car guard who made one fatal mistake? On October 4, 1997, David Gaunt was alone in the Loomis Fargo vault in Charlotte with $17 million in cash. Instead of finishing his shift, he began loading stacks of bills into a company van. He carefully disabled security cameras one by one, thinking he was covering his tracks perfectly. But this wasn't a spur-of-the-moment crime. Gaunt had been planning this for months with a group of accomplices. The plan was simple: steal the money, flee to Mexico, and lay low until the heat died down. Within hours, Gaunt was on a plane to Cancun with a fake passport and $50,000. Meanwhile, his partners back home started spending like lottery winners: new cars, expensive jewelry, lavish parties. The FBI noticed immediately. 3 weeks later, agents tracked Gaunt to a beachside resort where he was living like a king. Greed turned the perfect inside job into amateur hour, inspiring the comedy movie Masterminds.
Did you know someone once walked into the Tower of London and tried to steal the crown jewels with nothing but a mallet? In 1671, Colonel Thomas Blood hatched the most audacious heist in British history. Back then, tourists could view the crown jewels for just a small fee with minimal security. Blood spent weeks befriending Talbot Edwards, the elderly keeper of the jewels. He even arranged a fake marriage between his supposed nephew and Edwards' daughter. During what seemed like a routine private viewing, Blood and his accomplices struck. They beat Edwards unconscious with a mallet and wooden clubs. Blood coldly flattened St. Edward's crown with his mallet, while his men sawed the royal scepter in half. They nearly escaped, but guards caught them at the tower gates with the crown hidden under Blood's coat. Here's the shocking twist: King Charles II personally pardoned Blood and gave him an Irish estate. Many believe Blood was actually a government agent all along. The most brazen theft in history might have been an inside job.